All right, let's dive right into one of the biggest puzzles in finance. And I'll tell you right now, it has nothing to do with complicated charts or some secret stock tip. It's all about the quiet, everyday habits that are secretly deciding whether you build wealth or just spin your wheels no matter how much money you make. And that brings us to the big question, doesn't it? Why is it that we all know people, super smart, high-earning people, who just can't seem to get ahead with money? It's a paradox, right? If a big salary was the answer, they should be all set. But so often, they aren't. And the answer, it turns out, has almost nothing to do with how smart you are and everything to do with how you behave. Okay, let's just bust this myth wide open. We're all taught that a bigger paycheck is the ticket to getting rich. But the real truth? Your behavior is what makes you rich. Things like your savings rate, your patience, your ego, they matter so much more than the number on your payslip. In fact, here's a wild thought. Your savings rate is way more important than your investment returns. Just let that sink in. You could be the best investor in the world, but if you've got no money to invest, it doesn't mean a thing. See, wealth isn't about what you earn, it's what you manage to keep. It's a soft skill, not a math problem. Now, to really get this, we've got to look at the invisible forces that are always pushing and pulling on us. Let's call it the social trap. It's that constant pressure to make your life look good on the outside, even if it's a total mess financially behind the scenes. And this quote from Morgan Housel just nails it. Wealth is what you don't see. It's the fancy car that wasn't bought. It's the investments that are quietly growing in an account that nobody ever sees. It's the financial cushion that's going to buy you freedom and options later on. What we usually see, the nice cars, the big houses, the flashy vacations, that's not wealth. That's just spending. And a lot of the time, it's actually the exact opposite of wealth. So what does this social trap actually look like in day-to-day life? Well, first you've got lifestyle inflation. You know this one. You get a raise and somehow your spending magically expands to eat it all up. Suddenly you're earning six figures, but still living paycheck to paycheck. Then there's the soul-crushing comparison game. You're constantly looking at your friend's perfect Instagram vacation or your neighbor's new car and feeling like you're falling behind. It's a game you can never, ever win. And it all leads to chasing status symbols and, worst of all, confusing debt with wealth, using credit to build a life that isn't real, which just puts your future self in chains. But here's the thing. As powerful as all that outside pressure is, the most dangerous traps aren't out there. Nope. They're the ones operating inside our own heads. The emotional triggers, the biases, the little mental shortcuts that silently wreck our financial plans. And that leads us to the second big idea, the mindset trap. This is where we become our own worst financial enemy, and we often don't even know it's happening. These are the psychological glitches that keep us stuck, no matter how much money we have. And to understand the biggest mindset trap of all, you have to appreciate the single most powerful force in finance: compounding. The best way to think about it is like a tiny snowball at the top of a really, really long hill. At first, it rolls slowly. You barely notice it growing. But over time, it picks up more snow, getting bigger and faster until it's a full-blown avalanche of wealth. That's your money at work. Your earnings start making their own earnings. It's an absolute superpower, but its fuel is time. Just look at this chart. It shows you exactly how destructive waiting is. Someone who starts investing at 25 ends up with a mountain of money compared to someone who invests the exact same amount but starts just 10 years later. That 10-year delay, that little voice in your head saying, "Oh, I'll start tomorrow," it doesn't just cost you 10 years of savings. It costs you decades of explosive growth because the real magic happens at the end. Procrastination is the ultimate enemy of wealth. And besides procrastination, our minds are loaded with other wealth killers. You've got emotional spending, a little retail therapy because you had a bad day. There's underestimating risk, that dangerous voice that says, "Don't worry, it'll all be fine," right before you get totally wiped out. And then there's just plain old financial ignorance, having absolutely no idea where your money goes every month. And here's the deal, you can't fix what you don't even see. All of this leads to a huge mix-up between gambling and investing. See, a lot of people are chasing the thrill of a get-rich-quick scheme. They want excitement, but real investing is actually the opposite. It's about patience. It's about consistency. It's about not doing anything stupid for a very, very long time. Honestly, it should be a little bit boring, and that's exactly why it works so well. Okay, so we've looked at the traps outside of us and the traps inside of us. And I know, it might feel a little overwhelming, like the whole game is rigged. But here's the great news. The path to breaking free is actually really straightforward. It's not easy, for sure, but it is simple. Let's walk through the playbook. All right, here are the 5 core behaviors you need. First, live below your means. That gap between what you earn and what you spend, that's the seed from which all wealth grows. It is everything. Second, save consistently. And the trick is to make it automatic. Pay yourself first before you even have a chance to spend it. Third, invest for the long haul. Your goal isn't to be a genius, it's just to be unbreakable and patient. Fourth, avoid bad debt like the plague. It's literally selling your future freedom to pay for your past. And fifth, build a margin of safety. Have cash ready for when life inevitably throws you a curveball. That way, one surprise doesn't burn your whole financial house down. So those 5 steps are the how. But to actually stick with them for the long run, you need a really powerful why. And that means we need to totally redefine what we're even aiming for. The real goal isn't just a number in a bank account. It's something way, way more valuable. And here it is, the ultimate point of all this. True wealth is not about having more fancy stuff. It is about freedom. It's the ability to control your own time. It's waking up in the morning and saying, I can do whatever I want today. That is the highest dividend that money will ever pay. It's buying back your own time, your own options, your own life. That is the goal. So, I want to leave you with one final question to really think about. Take an honest look at your life, at your spending habits. Is your money just buying you more things to keep up appearances? Or is it quietly, day by day, buying you more freedom, more control over your own time? The answer to that question reveals absolutely everything. Hey, if this explainer made you think, do us a quick favor and hit that like button. It really does help us out. And if you know someone who could use this perspective, please share it with them. And of course, make sure you subscribe to Data Finance because we have so much more to talk about when it comes to building real, lasting wealth. Thanks for watching.